a little. The Shakere was not always with the people. This instrument was made because there was problems in the family. Do you know that there was a time, this is a story the Yoruba people tell. This was the time when men kept going to war, and they were waging war, and they weren't ever home. They weren't home with their children, and they weren't home with their wives, and the men started taking the women for granted. And the women got upset. Show me with your hands, when you get upset with someone, show me what you might do. Oh, that was one. That's a gesture. Oh, there's another one. Well, that's what the women were doing. They did this. They did this. They did this. They were frustrated. They were upset. They did not understand how they could get those men to treat them with respect and with honor. And as they kept going away, they were not paying attention to the children. The women decided all together that they would go up to the mountains, and they took all the children with them. And there they stayed. Well, when the men came back to the village, it was empty. There was nobody there, running or playing, and they looked around and they couldn't find their children, and they couldn't find the women. And they got a little worried, and they got a little hungry, and they got a little mad. Lonely. When they got lonely, they got a little sad, and they got a little mad. They sure did. And they decided they would go to ask the chief if he knew what had happened, because you see, his wife was gone too. They were all up and up. He didn't know what they should do. And so the chief said, well, here's an idea. Let's take the warriors, and we will go up to the mountain where they are, and we will bring them back. Well, the warriors went on the way, but the women, they had prepared for those men, and they were able to hide from different places, and they could see them coming, and they started to throw things at them, and the men weren't expecting it, and they started to back up, and they ran away, and they were sad. They were mad. Lonely. They were hungry, and they missed their families. Then they decided maybe what they should do is pray. I said, have we done something wrong? What can we do? Maybe we've taken our women for granted, and we should say thank you sometimes, and we should let them know that we appreciate what they do for us. And so it was that a stranger came. Her name was Oshun. And she came and says, I can help you. When she came up from the river, and she brought with her some tools. She asked the men to gather fibers for her. And they made beads for her. And they cut off a calabash for her. And she started to work. And it was like knitting and sewing. And she sewed those beads together. Can you sew? She sewed those beads together. And as she knitted and she sewed, she put that net around the calabash that she had dried out inside. And then she said, come with me, men. It is time. And she started to walk up the mountain. And she played and she danced. And as she moved toward the place where the women were hiding, she said, Oshun did not come to make war. Oshun came to dance. And the women loved the sound of the Shakere. They loved it so much that they started to dance. Can you move your shoulders? Oh, they were dancing. And they came and followed those birds. And all the way down the mountain, Well, who was waiting there? The men. And they came out and they put their arms around those women and they said, oh, we are so sorry for taking you for granted. We thank you so much for what you do. Will you please come back to the village? We should be together and be a family. And so the women said, yes. They said yes. And so the Shakere has become something that is given when someone gets married and they want to start a family to help ensure harmony in their home. And that's the story of the Shakere. Can you clap your hands? Now, for us to finish out today, I figured we should sing our first song one more time. Yes, dear.
Well, maybe someday you can come back and tell us a story about the two ones we haven't heard about.
Well, that is true. I do have the papa of this drum back at my house, and I didn't bring him today. This drum is a djembe. Say djembe. No, this is from your school. This is your school's drum, and I borrowed it today. I left mine at home because I couldn't carry everything. But the djembe does have a story. It is a beautiful sound, and it makes, I think this is not an actual animal skin, but mine are used. They have real trees, they're made from trees, and they're made from animals. And so their voice is a very lively voice. But I'm going to ask us to sing the song again. Are you ready?
No.
You remember? Dakuona, 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 Moni, Dakuona, Dakuona, Dakuona. If they don't feel well. And it helps them to get better faster. So it's a sacred instrument for the Shona people that is offered. But we can do more. I thank you for helping me tell my stories. You did such a good job. Let me give you
deep breath.
Yeah, I know.
Do you need a rest?
You know what I need is